Did you know you can influence how much value you get out of a pen test? In this video, we'll take a look at the steps you can take to squeeze every cent of value from your external facing infrastructure or web application assessment. So, you're getting a pen test. Over the years, I've seen many organizations set themselves up to get a poor value assessment. They take the approach of either not caring about the results, for example, it's just a tick box exercise for compliance reasons, or they don't understand the difference in value they can get by putting a little effort into the preparations. These are some of the paraphrased comments I've heard. I don't need to do anything to prepare, do I? I'm not doing the pen test. I just fill in the document with my company IP ranges and leave it to the pen tester. Job well done, right? And lastly, I can review the test report and fix anything that comes out of it afterwards. That's the whole point of the pen test, isn't it? Such attitudes make our hacker friend on the right here a very happy chappy. Remember, malicious parties don't limit their attacks to whatever you put in a scoping document the way an official pen tester does. The more effort you put into preparing for the test, the more value you can get out of it. This starts with understanding the scope of your pen test and your organization's digital footprint. Over the next few slides, we'll discuss how to achieve that. You want to start by casting a wide net. What do I mean by casting a wide net? Most modern infrastructure consists of more than just your public IP ranges pointing to your office networks. People use private and public clouds, software-defined WAN, and third-party online services which integrate with your own services in such a way that it's hard to know where one service stops and another starts. Using your DNS records can often help determine whether you've missed anything from your pen testing scope. Looking at your DNS records, do you see any records pointing to infrastructure you missed from your original scoping but belongs to your organization? How about resources you have in the public cloud like AWS, Azure, or GCP? In many cases, pen testers can also perform assessments against your public cloud services. The rules of engagement are just a little different. They need to attack your service in the cloud, not the cloud service itself. If you find resources that were missed, determine whether you share the resources with other organizations. Provided the IP addresses are dedicated to you, it's worth running a port scan to see if there are any other services hidden away on the same infrastructure. Sometimes it's a good idea to validate your findings using publicly available data. Security Trails is the perfect companion for this occasion, and you can see with the screenshots on the right that I've taken a few looks at bbc.co.uk. We can see from the first screenshot that there are a number of other top-level domains associated with this, thanks to the name servers. We can also see that there are over 7,000 subdomain records associated with bbc.co.uk. Did you find anything that was supposed to be decommissioned or not be publicly available in the first place? Maybe a demo service that was only meant to be online for a few days. Shut it all down. After all, a temporary demo environment that isn't in active use anymore should not be publicly available. Doesn't need to take up the tester's time either. Now that we understand our scope, let's look for vulnerabilities. We are, in effect, going to do some of the same tasks that a pen tester might start with. Pen testers are often faced with strict time limits. They'll run some vulnerability scans and decide which of the vulnerabilities discovered during a scan are worth following up. The less vulnerabilities a tester discovers, the more targeted their attack can be. This holds even more true for web application assessments, where we want the tester to also validate business logic processes for vulnerabilities as well as technologies. There's a wide range of freely available tools that can help us with this task. They include Nmap, Shodan, OpenVAS, Z-Attack Proxy, WP-Scan, Scout Suite, and many more. Nmap, for example, started off as a port scanner and is very useful for doing these types of enumeration assessments. However, it's also capable of doing some basic application and web vulnerability scans as well. Shodan, also known as the search engine for hackers, is an excellent tool where you basically get to use the results performed by someone else's port scan and review them in live. OpenVAS is an open source vulnerability scanner. It requires a little bit of setup, but after that, you can run a full vulnerability scan across your infrastructure. On the web application, cloud, and API scanning side of things, we have Z-Attack Proxy, which is an excellent web application scanning tool and has come a long way over the last few years and is freely available. The automated scan campaigns are second to none in the free environment. I've also listed WP Scan because there are a large number of WordPress-based websites. It's an excellent idea to try and find a scanner which is specifically designed to a CMS system you use. If you're using one, you'll get the best possible results. And finally, I've listed Scout Suite. Scout Suite is a great tool for assessing the security posture of your public cloud environment. There is also a plethora of paid options available. These options usually provide easier setup and more detailed scans. For example, they have the ability to authenticate into a web application before starting the scan. You don't want to only scan the authentication page, right? You want to scan everything sitting behind that authentication too. Most paid options also offer free trials. It might be worth trying one. You may even find that the service is worth holding on to and paying for. Now that you've performed your scans and got your results, it's time to remediate the vulnerabilities discovered. In most instances, this will involve patching software packages and components or tightening of security configurations, such as disabling older versions of TLS encryption. A good web application scan may also find vulnerabilities which require the assistance of a developer. For example, user input validation to prevent cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and cross-site request forgery. Remediating all these vulnerabilities allows the pen tester to put all their efforts into much smaller attack surfaces. They may get time to exploit a lesser-known vulnerability that otherwise would never have been discovered, or worse, was discovered by malicious attackers at a later stage. Recapping what we've covered, we want to start by casting a wide net so we are sure everything that should be in the test is included. We want to find as many existing vulnerabilities ourselves, and we want to remediate them before the test commences. Now we're ready to get the very most out of a penetration test. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this presentation as much as I enjoyed making it.